Welcome to the Aaron Harber Show. My special guest today is Veronica Garcia, the CEO of BitLumens. Veronica, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So tell me, what is BitLumens?
BitLumens, it's a company that started in 2017. We bring power and water to women farmers, mainly in Latin America. Right now we have a pilot running in Guatemala, and we leverage on the blockchain and Internet of Things to develop the project.
All right, so how do you bring electricity and water to these people? And is it exclusively women?
It's exclusively women because data shows that women pay for installments. Well, sorry, but men drink it, so this is one of the main reasons why we do it. Also, 80% of farmers in Africa are women. So if we want to expand to that region, this is really important. We bring power and water using solar devices. So this is a small panel with a battery. It's a 3,000 milliamp hours battery. It's very small. And then you can power the house for 5 hours. These are small houses. We bring also efficient appliances that are powered by DC, so we don't need an inverter. Efficiencies are higher, of course.
For DC current?
Yes, correct. So then it's very useful for them to have this small hardware. We go and install it in these houses, and they would get electricity for about 5 hours. We install the lights, we install TVs if they want, we install radios as well. And we could also have solar pumps for them to have irrigation to water their crops.
And this is all through solar energy?
Solar energy, yeah.
And so are you familiar with any of the work done by Martin Fisher in terms of in Africa? He has a human-propelled pump, water pump, that has had where you can actually use it with human power to irrigate about an acre, which is transformational in a number of countries in Africa. So it sounds very similar.
It's a very similar approach. There are many companies, providing this type of hardware. What we do extra is we include the sensors that tell us what is the power generation, and we also build a model that shows us what is the carbon mitigation. So we know what type of fuel they were using before these machines, like for instance, diesel generators, biomass, like wood. And then we show what is the mitigation happening over a certain period of time. Like for instance, you can do it through satellite imagery. We will tackle deforestation in certain areas. We collect the data over a period of, let's say, 1 year, and then feed the models to see, what is the carbon and black carbon mitigation. And the black carbon is, when you burn wood or you burn kerosene, you emit particulate matter, PM 2.5, and that's something that our sensors measure. They measure the air quality indoors.
So tell me about your use of blockchain technology. And actually start off with, for my audience, an explanation of what blockchain technology is.
So blockchain technology is a distributed ledger, which means you have a block of information disaggregated into many pieces. And then to put it all together again, so it's impossible to hack. And to put it together again, you would need validators to do that. And validators are, are different protocols like proof of work used in Bitcoin. It uses a lot of energy. Right now, Bitcoin uses about 50 terawatt hours per year of energy. So it's not really environmentally friendly. And the way this protocol works, it's very secure though. It's one of the most secure protocols, and that's why it needs a lot of energy to solve these mathematical puzzles that these machines called, let's say, ASIC machines solve over a period of 10 minutes. So the faster and the better the machine, the faster you solve the puzzle. And that's the way they validate. And there are other protocols. Ethereum uses proof of stake, which is a protocol, iterative type of protocol where you have people with coins, and the more coins you have, the higher the probability you can become a validator. There are other protocols that are linked to, let's say, zero proof of knowledge, and we are also using those for our sensors. You have a prover and you have a validator, and then the validator has to, or verifier, and the verifier has to say whatever digital statement I put out there, it's actually true. And then the prover has to actually prove with minimum information that's actually happening. So you have all these protocols that over time I think consume less and less energy, which is, it's beautiful, because then you can create a trustless type of system.
But with Bitcoin, my impression is that as that has progressed, to create more Bitcoin on a per unit basis is actually requiring even more, progressively more energy consumption. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, because you have a difficulty rate that is linked to the hash rate. And in April 2017, we were talking about, I think, 4 million terahash per second. Well, now it's about 22 million. It's just exponentially growing, meaning you need more and more servers over time to work over those puzzles and solve it over a period of 10 minutes.
And so are we going to see the end numerically of Bitcoin soon?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I don't think that...
the number of Bitcoin.
Well, yes, of course. The supply of Bitcoin goes down, over time. And there is a very specific supply and you cannot go over it. But I don't think by any means we will see it end. They are becoming, I think there are more and more companies accepting it, and it's more of a form of payment, while before it was just something that you keep in your portfolio and you hope that increases in value.
Which for many people it did.
It did. Very happy people, yes.
So, but then there are other cryptocurrencies as well.
Yes.
So it just seems in terms of there can be new cryptocurrencies.
Of course, yes.
That seems in terms of supply and demand that it ultimately would lower the value of other cryptocurrencies. Is that, what's your sense of what's going to happen?
I don't think it will lower the value. I just think they are, like for instance with ICOs, you create a currency for a particular system. So it's a token that works in a closed economy, like ours, for instance. My farmers, they run their machines using a token, right? And that token is only used in my closed economy. So this means someone in Hong Kong can send a remittance to these women in the middle of Guatemala by buying tokens, and you know that these are going to be allocated in a machine, meaning you're paying for their electricity and their water. So there is a certain service attached to it. Whereas with the payment token, like Bitcoin, it's something that works in many different systems, right? It's completely different. And I think this adds a lot of value because you create use cases around it.
Did you invest in any Bitcoin?
I did. I invested in Bitcoin, in Ether, and in many other cryptos.
How long ago, if I may ask?
I started 2 years ago.
Good timing.
Not bad. I cannot complain.
So I guess my forecast is I think you're going to see a crash in the value of cryptocurrencies. Tell me why I'm wrong, or tell me why I might be right. Tell me why I might be wrong.
I mean, first I need to know your assumptions. Why do you say that? Explain me why.
My sense is that because there's nothing behind it in terms of a government entity or any kind of guarantee.
I get it.
That it's speculative, and once people start to sell, that will cascade.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw some of that in Bitcoin in January because of the Chinese New Year. But with fiat currencies, you have that too, right? You have some volatility around it. I do believe that what it's still missing, it's a global framework where startups can actually scale, you see. I think Singapore has done a great job, you know, with the sandboxes they created. Indonesia, Thailand, Switzerland, and many other countries actually, but those sandboxes work for a very short period of time. So they work sometimes 3 months, 6 months, you test your product, so the startup tests, and then afterwards you are done. You have to get out of the system, right? So one really needs regulators to understand the technology behind, and I really think they are lacking that, you know. They need to get developers on board, they need hackers on board to try to understand the system and, you know, roll their sleeves and work it through.
Not everybody gets to play in that sandbox.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, I get it. One of our advisors used to be at the Swiss National Bank, and he was at the executive board of directors of the IMF. And I'm a big believer that he could bring this regulatory perspective into an area that are, you know, uncharted waters. So the idea of all these coins that are appearing is that they should have a certain asset linked to it. I'm a big fan of that. Like, to me, economics, it's very abstract. If I work on production, I love it because I exactly know what's the output that I'm gonna get over a certain period of time. The same applies for these different coins and tokens.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Veronica Garcia.
For information on how to help promote civil and mutually respectful discourse and support expansion of the distribution of our programs, please email info@harbertv.com.
The Rex Howell Broadcaster of the Year Award recognizes an individual who, through leadership, skill, and dedication, is advancing the broadcast industry in our state and our nation. Tonight, we honor Aaron Harber. Aaron has worked extensively in the media as a host, producer, political and economic commentator, and columnist. Today, the Aaron Harber Show is the focus of his media involvement. Aaron, it is a privilege to present you with the Rex Howell Broadcaster of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Just make journalism great again.
Join me and watch the Aaron Harber Show.
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 I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson. Watch the Aaron Harber Show and keep hope alive.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of the Aaron Harber Show. Find us on Facebook to get all the latest updates, see behind-the-scene photos, and make comments and ask me questions. You can see episodes before their TV broadcast, so like the show today. Hi, I'm Aaron Harber, host of the Aaron Harber Show. Because I've never done endorsements or commercials, people ask how are our programs funded, especially because we provide them as a public service to all our broadcast outlets. It's expensive to produce our show, whether we do them here in Denver or go to places such as Aspen, Washington, D.C., or even Iraq. The answer is we depend on contributions to support our work to bring you some of the nation's top opinion leaders. Individuals, businesses, foundations, and other nonprofits make tax-deductible contributions to the Democracy and Media Education Foundation to help allow us to continue to work for you. To find out more, to make a donation, just go to dmefd.org. The DMEF is a tax-exempt public charitable organization and has promised to dedicate 100% of every contribution to support our public affairs initiatives. If you believe, as I do, in the need for a forum which promotes civil discourse and mutually respectful discussion, I hope you'll decide to make a contribution today.
The Aaron Harber Show may be viewed 24/7 at no charge from any location in the world at www.harbertv.com.
Welcome back to the show. We are with Veronica Garcia of BitLumen. So we've been talking about Bitcoin. I don't want to devote the whole show to it, though I could. So have you sold any Bitcoin?
No, not yet.
So you're a real believer.
I am. I think, you know, the only thing I do not like about Bitcoin is that it doesn't have any asset behind, but I just love this peer-to-peer, you know, system, trustless. I think it's just an amazing pilot. It's not a perfect one, you know, but whoever did it did a great job. It's to me a genius.
I used to be a registered investment advisor with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission.
Oh, wow.
So I'm much more oriented towards asset-based.
Of course, of course.
You know.
I get it. And I really think that eventually, you know, the value of it, it will be linked to whatever regulators are going to say, you know, about it. And you see it. I mean, they come out and they say something bad, and usually, you know, the price drops. Right. I mean, that's pretty much it. But I do believe that it had opened a lot of doors on how regulators can use this type of infrastructure, meaning blockchain, to move forward, you know, and to tackle funds that are actually leaving the country because of this.
Well, certainly in the case of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, they've shown a lot more resiliency than I think people like myself had anticipated. Mm-hmm. So it'll be fun to watch. People ask me, I give advice only informally. I don't give investment advice formally anymore, but I tell people, well, you know, if you invest, go along for the ride, but get out and, you know, make a profit and get out, because my prediction is not a positive one.
What I have seen is that, you know, a shift in demographics, at least on my experience. So I would have thought, you know, 50, 60-year-old were going to be, you know, fascinated about this project, but no, you have 20 and 30-year-olds that love it because they want to do something positive, you know, for the environment, tackle climate change, invest in digitalization, invest in Internet of Things. So we see a shift in demographics on where they want to spend and invest their funds.
Yeah, but I don't see it as environmental, to be candid. Not with the incredible consumption of energy that's required, especially.
I will be more concerned about electric vehicles. Electric vehicles in places where there is coal, you know, that's a coal vehicle. There are power matrices, let's say in Canada, that are hydro, and I believe there it would make sense. In Switzerland too, because we have 60% hydro, but in places where there is a little coal, I would just stay away from it. And I think energy consumption for EV, it's really way higher than whatever you will consume with Ether transactions.
Well, we can correct both, so we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
All right. Speaking of coal, let's talk about solar, because that's an arena you know a lot about. What do you see happening with solar technology? Not just in terms of what you're using, but we've seen this extraordinary reduction in pricing of certain solar technologies, certainly with flat panel technology, thin film technology. Mm-hmm. Looking ahead 20 years, not 5 or 10 years, but if you were to look ahead 20 years, what do you see solar having accomplished, and where will it be?
I think solar has accomplished a lot in terms of efficiencies and how mature the technology had become. And in addition to that, it's the battery side, right?
For storage.
For storage, yeah, because when the sun is not shining is when you need electricity, right? And that's exactly, in our particular use case, without those batteries, you know, just the solar panel will not make a lot of sense. So I do think that I would put a lot of focus, not just in PV, because I think PV had come a long way and it will come a long way. You know, efficiencies are increasing exponentially.
For photovoltaic.
For PV. And also other types of technologies. At IBM Research Lab, I used to work on high concentrated photovoltaic thermal. And there this is a power plant, a solar power plant that has two different outputs, a thermal output and an electrical output. And with the thermal, you can do desalination. I just find that fascinating. And my boss is a genius. You know, he did the same type of design they did for data centers, where they have a microcooling type of technology, and they apply it into solar. I find that amazing. So all these technologies are going to get more and more mature over time. So we will see things like, you know, solar plants having two different outputs, desalinating in one part of the platform, and in the other one you will have the electrical output. And then batteries. Batteries are just increasing their efficiencies considerably.
Well, the desalinization, of course, could have extraordinarily positive impacts in many parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Where you don't have clean water.
Absolutely.
And where they're desperate for clean water.
Absolutely.
And we still have over 1 billion people on the planet without access to electricity. And certainly those of us who have energy easily available live much more comfortable and longer lives.
Yes, yeah. I agree. I think the technologies of today are cost competitive. And my only point is, if we want to reach the goals of the Paris Agreement, there is no way we are going to do it without private investment. This is number one. And if those funds are not mobilized to the correct places, where places, you know, these are villages that they have not much. Cities have huge infrastructure. If you want to bring new infrastructure, it's usually pretty expensive to change the whole system, right? Why not bringing it to the areas that are needed the most, where actually customers pay? You know, they already pay for kerosene. They already pay for fuels. It's just a matter of trading it off.
All right, I think many people are willing to do that.
I hope so.
All right, we're going to take our last break, and we'll be right back with Veronica.
For information on how to help promote civil and mutually respectful discourse and support expansion of the distribution of our programs, please email info@harbortv.com.
Used by fire professionals around the world, Fire Ice XT Spray is an eco-friendly, easy-to-use suppressant gel designed to quickly and efficiently stop and contain all kinds of fire and heat-related events, including fiberglass, lithium batteries, and other combustible up to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, for use in your home, office, RV, fireplace, boat, kitchen, and garage. For more information on Fire Ice XT Spray, visit us online at fireice.com.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. Find us on Facebook to get all the latest updates, see behind-the-scene photos, and make comments and ask me questions. You can see episodes before their TV broadcast, so like the show today.
Join me and watch The Aaron Harber Show.
Watch The Aaron Harber Show.
Watch The Aaron Harber Show.
Watch the Aaron Harper Show.
Watch the Aaron Harber Show.
I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson. Watch the Aaron Harber Show and Keep Hope Alive.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. I very much would like to hear from you about the program, so please send me an email with your thoughts. You can suggest what topics I should cover, what guests I should invite to be on the show, or even what specific questions you would like me to ask. This is your program, so send your suggestions to aaron@harbortv.com. I promise to personally read every one, so email me today. And most of all, thanks for watching. I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. Find us on Facebook to get all the latest updates, see behind-the-scene photos, and make comments and ask me questions. You can see episodes before their TV broadcast, so like the show today.
The Aaron Harber Show may be viewed 24/7 at no charge from any location in the world at www.harbortv.com.
Welcome back to the show. We're wrapping up with Veronica right now, and I'm really interested. You've had an extraordinary career so far, and many more years ahead of you. When you look back on your successes and your failures, and I shouldn't use the plural necessary in failures, but I'd love you to pick one of each that became really important to you and very valuable to you in whatever different ways those may have been. But let's talk about a success. I want you to brag a little.
Okay, well, let me try, So I'm very proud of having finished my university with 1-month-old child, So I was at the university and I had my 2 kids there. After a while, after 3 months, I went into banking. I worked for UBS and later on for Credit Suisse. My kids were very small. Banking, it's tough. You have to work really long hours. And I'm just proud the way that we all manage it at home. It's like a small ecosystem and you just make it work. And that makes you resilient, I think, to adapting and to see things that others see as weaknesses, you will see as a strength, or you would simply just go, without looking at, I would say, negative experiences that others will consider negative. You would just go for it, and you keep pushing. After banking, I went to ETH. This is like the MIT of Zurich, and I studied energy economics. So I was an investment consultant before. I basically changed the view I view portfolios, now are energy type of portfolios. And I went into IBM Research Lab, so I was really very lucky to end up with people, going in the halls, and that was the Nobel Prize winner, and that were amazing scientists. I'm very proud of that, and it's a great experience.
All right, well, we only have 2 minutes left, and I want there. But how about a failure or something that you really learned from?
Well,
just pick one.
Just one. I have many, but I think that the one that impacted me the most was in the World Bank and in the Inter-American Development Bank. They would always give me short-term contracts, and I got really frustrated. And out of that frustration, you think, okay, am I doing something wrong? Is it, my CV is not right? What is it that I'm doing? And that at one point I just decided to open my own company, and out of that failure, what I call a big failure, because I thought there was something wrong there, I built something upon it that I think is very positive.
That's great. Okay, last question with a little over a minute left. Okay. You've been in the high-tech arena, and clearly we're both aware of how sexist it has been, continues to be. There's been a lot of various incidents in that realm. How do we overcome that, get more young women and women of all ages more involved in that sector?
Yeah. So I think it's important to mention that I work at IBM Research Lab with men. I never had issues. I work at banking, which is a very aggressive type of sector in particularly men-driven. I never had issues until I went into Silicon Valley, and those guys are very aggressive. I really think they should be kind and they should be grounded, not because you have success and money, you have to become an ogre. So what I would tell women is, don't take that personally, and be driven. Just passion should drive people, and don't pay attention to comments that you just let them go, I think.
Are inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
At the minimum. What's your take on the Me Too and the Time's Up movement? And do you
love it. I love it. Look, I have 3 brothers, and I was a big pro-man type because I never had issues, again, until I went into the Silicon Valley. I'm so happy all these women are coming up and saying what it needs to be said, because if we all shut up, someone is going to pay for it, It's just like a roller coaster.
So, well, people are speaking up.
I'm glad that they are.
To put it mildly.
Yeah.
Veronica, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here.
My pleasure. All right, that was Veronica Garcia, the CEO of BitLumens. I'm Aaron Harber. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Please contact us. We want to hear from you. And thanks for watching.